to Tampa Bay Business Connections, the show where we are bringing exposure to organizations and added value to their members. And today's episode is all about the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association. And we have a guest here, but before I introduce her, we have a short clip that she'd like for you to see about Walden Insurance.
Why settle for one-size-fits-all insurance? Walden Insurance Network represents multiple companies to find the right insurance company to fit your needs, not the other way around.
Walden Insurance Network has been serving the insurance needs of families and businesses since 1997. As a trusted choice independent insurance agency, we're your one-stop insurance center for business, home, auto, and more, representing the industry's best-known companies. Our experienced staff works together as a team, adhering to a set of common values, focused on service, building relationships, and putting people first.
I've had wonderful experiences here at Walden Insurance. Anytime I need something, they're quick to get that to me. I just think Walden Insurance does a great job handling all of our insurance needs.
I had Walden Insurance review all of my insurance policies years ago and have ended up using them to replace my homeowner's coverage, my automobile coverage, and all of my coverages. And I'm very pleased with the service I've gotten from them.
Stop by, say hello to Dudley, and you'll discover that if you drive it, live in it, work at it, pay it, or treasure it, Walden can insure it. Walden Insurance Network.
Awesome. That was very cool.
Thanks,
I want one of those.
What, Dudley? The dog?
Yes, Dudley, the dog. I want a Dudley.
Yeah,
So
he makes
cute.
life fun at the office.
So is he
does.
like your little mascot?
He
Little
is.
office mascot? Oh,
Yeah, we
how
call him
lovely.
the Vice President of Marketing.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Because he greets everyone.
He does. And believe it or not, we actually have people that call for him or email him. It's hilarious.
That is hilarious. Call for Dudley.
Call for Dudley. Yes,
How
Dudley
sweet.
calling.
Well, welcome. Welcome.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
So
Yeah.
thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, which I know
Thanks.
you're busy, like we
Yeah,
all are,
we all
to
are.
come and be on the Tampa Bay Business Connection show
Thanks.
for WPBA.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. Yep.
How long have you been a WPBA member?
I've been a member for not quite a year and a half.
Okay.
Not quite a year
So
and a
you're
half.
still a
Yeah,
newbie,
I'm a
sort
newbie,
of.
but not new to networking and new to the
Certainly.
community. But yeah,
Certainly.
to WPPA.
Okay, let's talk about that very thing. So Walden Insurance is your company.
It is.
Okay, and tell us what you do. I mean, obviously it's insurance, right? But tell us more about Walden Insurance specifically. What is it that
Okay.
you guys offer?
Well, Walden Insurance Network, I started it actually 24 years ago
Wow.
this month. Yes,
Wow.
I know. I thought about
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'm like, where did the time go?
Right.
You know? And when I started it, it was to, I worked for a captive company, a captive insurance agency, meaning the only business I could write was for that particular company. That's where I got
Gotcha.
my start.
Okay.
And the biggest issue that I had with that was I had to fit that company into my clients. Instead of my clients, me finding the right company or the right fit for them, I had to make sure they fit into the company. If they didn't, we couldn't provide them insurance. And that was always one of my biggest pet peeves was
Sure.
if you can't help everybody and you can't help your clients, then
They can't be
you
your
know,
client.
They can't be your client. You know, somebody else is going to come in and write them something else, and they're not going to have one professional, trusted choice agent to help them. So that's what I started it for. And so when you walk into Walden Insurance, you can do your personal insurance from your auto and home and umbrellas and RVs, and we're getting a lot of golf carts today. And
Oh, I suppose
boats
you
and
need to insure
RVs.
those.
That's right, we do. We insure them. And we also do commercial insurance. We do a lot of commercial insurance from
Okay.
buildings and leases and general liability, new startups, larger companies. So we really enjoy that. And then on the benefits side, we play in that health insurance field every year.
Wow.
Yes, so we do the open enrollment for Medicare.gov or healthcare.gov, and we also do Medicare open enrollment, and we offer life insurance. So that's kind of what we
Wow.
do. Yeah.
So is there any insurance you can't offer? Anything you don't do?
Anything that we don't write travel insurance. You get
Okay.
that from, your travel agent or some other
Okay.
carrier, but we actually offer pet insurance. We
What?
offer, yes. Yes.
Well,
I mean,
Dudley, right? Dudley
yeah,
probably offers that.
Absolutely. But, yeah, and that's what we do. We are there to be your trusted advisor. And when you come in, whatever your issue is, whatever you need, we can provide
Wow.
it. Yeah, it's fun.
One-stop
One-stop shop.
Nice.
That's right.
So this may be a question that sounds silly, but I am always curious
No,
about
it's
this. If a person comes in to get insurance from you, does then everything come from you, or is it you just make it all happen? Say, okay, here's your insurance, your car insurance from whoever, and
Right.
here's your business insurance from whoever.
Right. We make it happen. What we do is we're totally independent. So we represent unlimited amount of insurance carriers on the personal side and on the commercial side. So when you come into my office, I'm going to look at what you have, and we're going to talk about what your needs are and, what changes have been made since you wrote that policy or since you bought that policy. And then we have a rater that we rate personal insurance through. If it's a commercial account, some of our carriers will let us rate online. Others, we just send it out. We'll fill out the application.
Like
We send it
shop
out for
it.
bid, and
Okay.
then we work our magic.
Okay.
That's when we're like, okay, I'm sorry, but we really need you to be a little bit lower. I've got a rate over here for this. Can you beat that? That's what we do.
Ah.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
There's the power of that,
There's
right?
the power of that.
Is
Yes.
that you
yes.
can negotiate on someone's behalf.
That's correct.
say.
That's correct. And if we've got a really good client that, it may be getting a raw deal from an insurance company or something, we have that power to go to them and say, is there anything you can do? Or else we're going to be taking them somewhere
we're
else.
leaving.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the issue that we have. And that's, it's not really power, but it's a caveat, and it's something that we are.
Power's not the right word necessary, but
no.
advocate.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Right?
Advocate.
So that
That's right.
you make sure that your clients are being well cared for.
That's right.
Because they're your client ultimately.
That's right. That's
you want
right.
them to be taken care of.
That's right. It's all about relationships with us.
Yes.
If you don't have a relationship with the people that you do business with, regardless of which side of the table you're sitting on, whether you're the producer or whether you're the client, you need
Sure.
to have that relationship on both sides.
Well, how nice for the consumer, right? People like me, to have one person to call on.
Right.
Say, there's a problem,
Right.
or I need help with this, or yikes, when the renewal came through this year, it doubled, right?
Unfortunately, that happens a lot. Yeah, especially right now with homeowners insurance. It's pretty
Really?
crazy out there right now.
Yeah,
all
our
the rates
commercial
are going
auto
up.
went way up. I
Yep.
almost had a stroke and fell out of my chair. I'm like, what is this?
Yes.
Everyone's rates went up.
Yes.
That holy cow.
I know.
That's crazy talk right there. Well, tell us, we're almost out of time. We just have a couple minutes left.
Oh,
but
wow.
tell us, is there anything super unique about you or anything special that we want to know about you other than, wow, you can do it all? I even wrote all on the back of your card.
We can do it all, yes. I think one of the biggest differentiators between us and other agencies is that all the other agents will do a little bit of this, but we actually do build a relationship, and we actually educate.
I love that.
We educate our clients. Most people do not know what's in their policy until claim time. Well, then that's
yeah.
too late,
Yes, it is.
So for goodness sakes, and especially, on the personal line side with homeowners, I mean, this homeowner's policy is not the same as this homeowner's policy. You may have limited water damage here, and you may have full water damage here. You may have no water damage. You may have
Right.
screen room coverage, but it's not the same. So you really need somebody, a professional, to take a
Right.
look at it and know what they're looking at and not just the numbers, you
Right.
know. And so that's what we do. We educate our clients and let them make the decision. We're never going to shove something down their throat. It's always going to be, here are your options. Here's what you asked for. Here's what we recommend,
There you go.
And so that's what we do.
Understanding
So-
it is so much an important piece.
Well,
right?
if you understand it, then that gives you the power of your own life
Right.
and your own.
Make your choice.
Exactly. And, people always say, I'm insurance poor. Well, if they understood what they had, and they knew that it met their needs, then that wouldn't be the statement
Right.
that was made.
It would be, I'm well protected.
I'm well protected.
I'm well protected.
Yes, exactly.
Well, honey, I think I'm well protected. I'm paying for it at any rate. So.
That's it. And oh, by the way, do you have life insurance?
Maybe we should talk.
Maybe we should talk.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us, educating us. I love that piece of your business, that you're an educator, because I totally am an educator by nature.
Right.
It's just so important that people have all of the facts, right? Give them
That's
all
right.
the facts, and they will make good decisions for themselves.
That's
It works
right.
From them. All righty, thank you so much. We
you.
are just about out of time,
Oh,
but
my
you
goodness.
guys come right back because we have somebody else who wants to share their business with you, and we have another member from the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association. So we'll be right back. So welcome back to Tampa Bay Business Connections, where we are giving more exposure to organizations and, of course, added value to their members. Today is WPBA, West Pasco Pinellas Business Association, and I have a member to introduce to you. And her name is Denise Allen, and she is with Art You Adore.
Yep.
Yes?
Art You Adore Portrait
Okay, so
Studio.
tell us what Art You Adore. I love art, so anything you say is going to make me happy, but what is Art You Adore?
Art You Adore is a photography studio.
Okay.
I'm a portrait photographer. We do family portraits and portraits of women. We do family portraits focused on women being photographed with the people that they love.
Oh, very nice.
So I found a need doing family pictures in making mom feel included in the pictures, making her want to be in the pictures.
Right. Because it's so often about the kids, right?
Right. And I would hear that all the time, just the kids. I just want to photograph. I don't want to be in the picture. I just want to photograph the kids.
You're like,
And
no.
Mom is missing. She was missing from the pictures.
Mom needs to be in the pictures.
Right.
Or it's not a family photo.
That's right.
Wow. So you're located downtown, aren't you?
No, we're on Little Road.
On Little Road. Why did I think you were downtown?
Yep, 9836 Little Road, right across the street from the library.
Oh, okay. I know where you're at. Okay. So you actually have a studio where people come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the case these days. It seems like there are a number of people being more remote, but even with COVID, you bring people in?
I bring people in. We're being super careful right now.
Sure.
It's usually just me
you.
in the
Okay.
studio.
Okay.
And my hair and makeup artist, of course.
Sure.
Because we offer that for mom to come in
Very nice.
and make it a bit of an experience.
So it's a little more fun. So you'll
Right.
do just mom or just a businesswoman.
Right. If
Right.
you have a woman who, is feeling a little anxious about herself, it's a great experience. She comes in, sits with the hair and makeup artist. We serve wine and cheese and cookies
Oh.
and
Rough.
exactly.
Sounds terrible, doesn't it?
We have a client closet, so clients can come in if they are looking for something a little more glamorous than they have in their closet.
Nice.
So for our beauty portraits, the women can come in, get all dressed up, pick out the outfits they want to wear. We create beautiful images together, and then when they come back and see their images, they remember how beautiful they are, how they leave feeling empowered. We want women
Very
to
nice.
remember their beauty.
Remember, they are beautiful. Wow. How long have you been doing this?
I started taking pictures a million years ago.
Yes.
in a
you look
Sears-
a million years old. Please.
In one of those mall portrait studios.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like a glamour shot idea.
This was
Kind of.
actually a Sears portrait studio back when they had those.
I
is
remember
where I
them.
started.
I totally remember them.
And then I left to sell insurance for a number of years. Decided that was not for me. picked up a camera and remembered the impact that I could have taking pictures and creating these memories for people. So I went back to school, started taking some online classes, started following some great photographers, just doing everything I could to learn. And now I'm doing what I love. I have the best job in the world.
That is the best job in the world,
It is
isn't
the
it? When
best
you
job
do
in the
what you
world.
love. Wow. So you have this really cool thing sitting beside you that I watched you lug in that looked heavy.
It is a
but
little heavy.
Has this gorgeous picture in it. I totally want to see what this is all about. So show us what this, other than it looks like just a framed picture.
It does. This
Except
is-
for it's thick.
It is thick. This is my 11 by 14 folio box because I not only want women to come in and get their pictures and love their pictures, I want them to display their pictures. I want you to be able to show off your pictures and feel proud of them. So we have created these folio boxes so that you have the option to choose the pictures that you want to display. The pictures come matted. You can take these and put them right into a frame. They're ready to go. You can hand them out as gifts, or you can switch the pictures and decide, today I'm going to show off this picture and put it on top of the folio box. And now you have a different display.
A different display.
That's right.
Beautiful. Rather than framing them all, which makes my husband crazy. I frame everything and put it on the wall. But just one beautiful, elegant looking piece that will go with any decor, clearly.
Right.
But you can swap out pictures and
Right,
see
and
something
we
new.
do traditional albums for families, something that you want to flip through with the kids. Those are still available, but for something that, for a woman who's coming in to, empower herself and show herself off, then this is a little bit of a more elegant option.
very beautiful. Might be a nice addition to even a professional space,
Absolutely.
right? So if
Absolutely.
you're decorating in an office or whatever, be able to swap out professional. Who knows?
Who
That
knows?
sounds like fun. Okay, so in your studio, do you have anything else for us to see or do? Or is it just focused on the photography?
It's just focused on the
Because it says
photography.
art you adore, so I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything important.
No, it's just the photography. What we do after the session is over, we have the images printed out like this, so you can come in and see your pictures and have a little champagne and cry because you're so beautiful and you had forgotten it. and-
Wow, so it's the fun with the wine and cheese,
Right.
right, and the photography,
And then you celebrate.
and then you celebrate with some champagne later.
Exactly.
That sounds lovely.
But then we have the ability, especially, and it's more common with our family pictures, if someone wants to come in and after the fact, you picked out the pictures you love, and then we take some software, we show you what those pictures will look like on your wall. You've taken a cell phone picture of the wall,
Oh, nice.
the the
Okay.
room above your couch, and we're going to show you what your family pictures, what your gallery is
Okay.
going to look like there. So when you order your pictures, you can feel comfortable knowing this is going to match my stuff, this is going to fit
Right.
my space.
Very nice.
Then we order your pictures. So there's a little bit of gallery design in it. which is-
Okay, so
the
that's
art.
kind of part of the art right there, not
Right,
just the art of
right.
photography, but
We want to turn your
making it-
family into art. We want to turn you into art. We want to
I
put you on
like
your
it.
walls.
So is that where the name came from?
It is.
Yeah, I kind of suspected that might be art you adore. That's very cool.
Thank you.
So not everyone collects photographic art. Lots of people when they think, "Oh, I collect art." We have a number of pieces at home that are like paintings, and we have some pointillism and things like that. But we also have some photography that we. I mean, they're pictures, but when you have them matted and framed and displayed together, it's art. right?
Exactly.
It makes art. So
Exactly. And there is an importance to putting your family story on your wall. If you have young children feel a sense of belonging when they see their families on the wall. It increases their self-esteem to know their family story. And that includes women getting photographed by themselves. A lot of times, like we talked about, mom is missing, and those kids and grandkids are going to be looking for those pictures, and mom needs to make sure they're there for them.
that she's a part of that.
That's right.
Show off that legacy.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, you do have a fun job.
I do have the best job.
So, outside of the studio, do you go places and do stuff, or is everything studio work?
We do on-location photography because in instances where a family might have a new home or have a
Okay,
a place
okay.
that is important and symbolic to their family. If a family, if a couple got engaged on the beach, they,
Okay.
have a lot of memories on the beach, or the beach is important to them, then of course we're going to go to the beach and make
Make
that
some
part
memories
of their,
for them there.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm just off the top of my head thought, gosh, it would be so great. You guys don't really have fireplaces here, but back where we came from on the other coast, people had fireplaces, and that would as a common place to gather for the family reunion photo or the family photo by the fireplace
Absolutely.
in your home. So anything like that where people want you to come and be a part.
Yeah, we have
making
people who
memories.
just purchased their first home, and that's exciting for them, and they want to decorate it with pictures of people they love. So we're going to go to their house and help
That becomes
design
your
that for
backdrop.
them. Absolutely.
Very nice.
Our in-studio pictures, we don't use a lot of decorative backgrounds. I really want to focus on the family and the relationship between those family members. So it's a real clean look, and
I
a
see
little-
that this is just like a black or dark colored backdrop. That
Right. And I have a
Yeah.
few. We're gonna match them with what they're wearing and make it look good.
Sure, right. There's an artistic piece to that, right?
Right,
We can't
right.
clash.
But I do want to just kind of keep it simple based on the beauty
Sure.
of the people that we're photographing.
Sure. Wow, you do have a great job.
Thank you.
So we're almost out of time, but tell me just really quickly, anything unique about you guys, anything you want us to know that we haven't talked about?
Just that I remind people to get in the pictures. Make sure that there is a record of you being there. Make sure that when someone comes looking for those pictures of you, whether it's in a generation or a couple generations, that they're going to be able to find them, because I can't express how important that is. Make sure
Yeah.
that they're there.
Especially if you're the shutterbug of the family.
Right.
You're that person that, I tend to be that person. I'm always taking pictures of all the grandkids and all
someone
the
will
stuff.
say, "Where were
going-
you?" Well, I was
Behind the
taking
camera,
picture.
taking the pictures, or, anything. Or in the kitchen. Nana was cooking. That's what I'm known for at my house. Nana was cooking us something yummy to eat.
That's a good thing too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
some time to come and just talk about your business and what you do. And we love having you as a WPBA member. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And you guys don't go anywhere, because we are not done yet. A few minutes, we'll be back with another one of the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association members, and you won't want to miss them. So we'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back to Tampa Bay Business Connections, where we are bringing exposure to organizations and added value to their members. And of course, we're continuing today with the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association members. So I have another member to introduce you to. Are you with me, Jack?
I am. How are you today?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm doing good, as good as can be expected.
Welcome. Jack, thank you for taking some time to be with us today. Tell our audience what it is that you do, my friend.
Sure. I am the owner of Journeys by Jack, which is an independent franchise in the Dream Vacations family. So I offer all sorts of travel services, cruise, all-inclusives, custom tours, you name it, virtually anything travel related we handle. I do completely boutique, hands-on, one-on-one service for my clients.
So, of course, all of us are dying to know, is anybody really traveling right now? Can we travel?
Surprisingly, yes. The news is dark and dreary, unfortunately. There was another round of cruise suspensions announced today, particularly including European itineraries. Cayman Islands announced yesterday they don't anticipate allowing cruise ships back to their country until at least early 2022. But it's not all bad. Many island destinations are open. Many all-inclusive resort chains are open. Cancun is open. Jamaica, Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, Aruba, Antigua. Lots of places that we can travel to. Many of them have guidelines or restrictions of some sort requiring testing prior to arrival or testing upon arrival with quarantine until you get the test results, things like that. Lots of variables out there, but there are lots of destinations that are open and are able to be visited at this time. So that's where I'm encouraging folks looking at spring break, summer vacation, things like that. Okay. I wouldn't count on cruises being available. I'm focused on those island destinations with those restrictions and protocols in place, I think are the safest, best bet.
Okay. Just because you don't want to get something booked and planned and then have to not do it. Right?
I've already spent a year of canceling cruises and scrambling to make last-minute alternative arrangements, and I really don't want to do any more of that, and don't want to encourage people to put themselves in that situation. So there is destinations open, travel is a possibility. So there's just some rules and restrictions that come along with it that you need to be aware of. But that's a part of what I do. I'll research a destination and I make sure everybody knows up front, here are the requirements, the expectations, here are the resources that you need to monitor in case things change, to be aware of those changes and hopefully get the best accurate information that we can to make sure that people have as enjoyable and seamless of an experience as they can have.
Sure. So are you finding that most of the travel is requiring testing or proof of testing or quarantining when you get there? Or?
Most destinations are. Mexico still famously is not, at least in the Cancun area. There's been some rumblings that may change in the near future. But most destinations around the Caribbean, there is some sort of a testing requirement. Some of them require testing within a certain time frame prior to arrival. For instance, Jamaica right now, you have to have a negative PCR test within 10 days prior to your departure. Some others, like Aruba, they give you the choice. You can take a test within 72 hours prior to departure, or you can take a test upon arrival. The catch is if you test upon arrival, then you're required to go to your resort and quarantine until they have the test results for you, which obviously can take a bit of time. But most destinations are requiring some form of testing at this point. There have been some rumblings about the possibility of requiring proof of vaccine in the future as the vaccine gets more widely rolled out. We haven't seen any details about that beyond some of the airline CEOs primarily have been discussing that for international flights, that you may see some kind of a requirement, at least for the short term, requiring some sort of a vaccine passport. But again, too soon to know until there's wider deployment of that and they have better information on its effectiveness and everything. It remains to be seen for now.
Sure. That makes sense. So what about, that's international, but just locally, nationally for us, is there anything that we need to be aware of, any restrictions, or can we pretty much move around the country at this point?
There are restrictions within the country. Pennsylvania, for instance, right now, if you want to go to Pennsylvania, most areas, especially the Pittsburgh area and the area around there, you cannot check into a hotel in Pennsylvania unless you meet a narrow list of exceptions, such as business travel. There are requirements, Hawaii, and there are different requirements in Hawaii if you fly to one island versus flying to one island and then wanting to fly inter-island to another destination. So even domestically, there are some restrictions and some challenges. And I think the greatest challenge is it's constantly changing as we learn more, as the disease progression changes, as transmission rates change in certain areas. Everything is a variable right now and can change at any time.
So that's why someone should use a travel agent instead of just doing it on their own, because, some people are accustomed to, especially if it's national, right? You're like, I'm going to go to Denver for, whatever. They just can hop on and book their flight. And, we're a lot of us can easily do that, especially in the business world. Mm-hmm. But then it's on us to know the down and dirty, the scoop, right?
Yes.
Where if they book through
people, every travel site right now, you go to book something, there are big flags and banners warning you that there may be restrictions due to COVID-19. So check Secretary of State web pages, check Health Department web pages, check state tourism web pages. Those are kind of the big places where you'll find the information. But again, that's part of what I do in putting the package together to take some of the stress and strain off you. Is I'll do all that research for you, and including your quote. Hey, here are the current restrictions at your destination, and here are the places that you should monitor to watch for any changes that may come up.
Cool. Okay. And then this is kind of an interesting that I hadn't really thought about before just today when you were just talking. But what about if you're there and they make some sort of a change on you coming home? Should we be planning ahead and getting, like when we travel locally, we don't do traveler's insurance. Would that
Right.
cover that? If you're there and then something changed, would your traveler's insurance cover that then?
It's a qualified maybe. How about that? That is a legitimate concern. The U.S. just announced today we are going to begin requiring testing for all inbound passengers. So say you go to Jamaica next week, you have to take a test to get into Jamaica. Then while you're in Jamaica, you're going to have to take a test in order to be able to board your flight back home. So then what happens if your test in Jamaica comes up positive and you're then required to quarantine an extra 14 days in Jamaica
Right.
before you're allowed to board a flight back to the U.S.?
Darn.
Some insurance policies will cover that. Not all of them. Most certainly not the ones that you get when you go through, your favorite airline booking site and you click the, check here to protect my purchase. Generally not, but there are much more comprehensive travel insurance policies out there, and some of them will include things like that if you're required to quarantine during your trip as a result of an illness. Some destinations are actually requiring that you purchase specific COVID-19 travel insurance to ensure that you are covered in the event of needing to seek medical care due to COVID while you're, in their country, things like that. Some of the resorts have actually started. Blue Diamond Resorts, for instance, that owns Hideaway, Royalton, Memories, and a couple other resort brands. They're actually offering complimentary medical assistance for travelers booking at their resorts that covers some of those things, including needing to interrupt your trip to return home early and things like that. So it's definitely one of those things that you want to look at, but you want to be sure that you really take your time and do your research and understand what this particular plan does or doesn't cover, because there are so many variables and exclusions out there, and some specifically exclude anything related to COVID. So it's one of those buyer beware. Yes, it exists. Yes, it's essential. I strongly urge all of my clients to do it. I often refer them out to buy better insurance than I can offer personally, because I want them to be protected and have a good time. But yeah, that is a very important consideration right now, especially traveling internationally.
So if somebody has something in their head, a plan in their head, they just need to give you a call and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. And you can just give them kind of a general education about what they might be looking at and,
Absolutely.
Where they can go and get that insurance that is going to protect them. We're not great buyers of travel insurance when we're just traveling, in our own country. But if we're traveling outside of the country, we're definitely talking about the traveler's insurance. But we've kind of been burned in the past about not being able to actually use it. So we would really need to rely on somebody like you, a professional, which is what you do, right?
Yeah.
That's why you use a professional. Well, thank you so much for the update. I know that people are curious. We're all anxious to get back out there and get some traveling in, see some family members. But of course, we want to take all of these things into consideration for sure. So thank you for coming and spending some time with us today. We are just about out of time, but I appreciate you stopping your busy schedule and coming and hanging out with us once again.
Thanks for having me. It's always great to pop in and chat with you guys.
Yeah, we'll have you again on as we get through a little bit more of this.
All right. And hopefully we'll have some better news.
Yes, please do. All righty. Take care.
All right.
Okay. Well, you guys, wasn't that interesting? Thank you so much for being with us. We will see you in just a couple of seconds for our next guest. welcome back to Tampa Bay Business Connections, where we are bringing awareness to organizations and added value to their members. And of course, we have another member from the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association. Are you with me, Barry?
I am with you, Clara.
There
Thanks
you
for having me.
are. This is wonderful. This is a treat because you're a special person in WPBA. But we're going to first talk about your business, the mortgage firm. So, Barry, tell us all about the mortgage firm and what you do.
Well, let's start by, we're in the mortgage business. We are in the residential refinance and purchase business. And I have an amazing team of people right here in Trinity, Florida. We are locally operated, and we provide every form of residential financing that you could imagine. So, there's pictures of some of my team up there. We've been together a long time. We do FHA lending. We do VA lending for our veterans out there. We do USDA for our rural farm areas, which is a 0% down loan. And we also do non-conforming type loans. So any type of loan out there that you would want to purchase a home or even refinance it and take advantage of these low rates that are still hanging out there, we're your go-to source for that.
So, two questions. One, what low rates that are hanging out there? Tell us.
You know, I have to tell you, no matter rates are, there's really, I love when people say, what's your rate? What's your rate? Because that is like, and anybody who will tell you a rate on the spot is basically just trying to bait you in to get you to use them, because there's really no way to determine a rate because there's so many factors that play into what your rate's going to be. First of all, the loan size determines your rate. That's one of the things that can affect it. The type of loan program you're doing, FHA, VA, conventional, what the property's worth versus what you are borrowing or refinancing determines your rate. And then, of course, everyone says, credit score. That's the only thing that matters. That's the furthest from the truth because credit score absolutely does affect it, but that's just one of the many factors. And the property zip code actually impacts the rate as well. So the location of the property and what type of property is it? Is it a single family home? Is it a multi-unit home? Is it a condo? All affect the rate. So Claire, I would love to tell you a rate. If you could answer me all of those wonderful questions, I can give you a rate.
Give me a rate right now.
Yeah, but it's really hard because, and I've seen, it's so funny. I see people like on social media post, oh, I have a rate right now of 2.25. Can anybody beat that? And I'm like, well, anybody can beat the rate. What are people willing to pay for it? Because you can buy down a rate via points as well.
Yeah.
So, there's just so much information. It's almost like you need to do some really fact gathering before you could ever determine a rate.
So that just shows my ignorance about the industry. I don't know.
I love
anything.
I love when realtors say to me, hey, can I get a rate sheet? Because way back in the day, we used to pass out these things called rate sheet. And rates change actually right now 2 to 3 times a day. We're seeing rate changes.
Wow.
It's pretty volatile. We're on an upward swing right now as well. So keep that in mind.
Wow. So is this still a good time for somebody who's been thinking, gosh, I probably should refinance before the rates go crazy? Is this still a good time or should we?
Oh, it can be. It can be. There's a rule of thumb is I always like to ask people, are you going to stay in the property? Because you are going to pay closing costs when you do a refinance. So how long are you staying in the property? You're going to stay 2 or 3 years. So if your payment savings are great enough to cover those closing costs, I would say, well, then it's definitely worth exploring. But if you're going to sell the house in the next 12 to 18 months and it's a smaller loan size, because remember, the smaller the loan size, even though the rate may be higher, the greater the payment savings can be. So all those things have to factor in. So it could be, when was a good time to refinance? Last week.
Last week.
That's what, but next week could be a good week too. Today could be. So it just depends on
Okay.
everyone's situation. All those things I mentioned before all factor in.
Wow. So that's really why you need a professional, right? To just sit down with
Absolutely.
and say,
Absolutely.
here's where we're
And-
at.
Yeah,
Can you
and
help us or
people
not?
in our industry, and I'm not going to pick on our bankers because we have a lot of wonderful bankers. They're not required to be licensed. Our team is required to be licensed, and we are highly regulated, which means they have continuing education requirements every year, and they need to be on top of their game to be in our industry. So the world has changed as we know it. We are definitely highly regulated. So yeah, pick a local professional, I like to say.
Someone you can sit down eyeball to eyeball or Zoom eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah,
Right?
see if it makes sense for you.
Yeah. Well, and I think the relationship piece has got to be there. I think you have to feel like you can trust that person, right? Find somebody in the community who's been around a little while and that you know, like, and trust. Gosh, that sounds like such a cliche, but there's a reason why people say that, right?
Hey, it's super duper true, Claire. No, like, and trust. I'm all for it. I'm about relationship business lending now 23 years in this
Wow.
area, and obviously this is my home, and I'm grateful for this community that always provided for me and my family. Yeah, you definitely need a relationship because there's so many things that can play into the mortgage and whether it makes sense to buy a home. Your insurance costs, your HOA fees, how much down payment are you going to need? It's a grueling process right now. So you better have somebody that can hold your hand all the way through it.
Right.
Because let's face it, home ownership is probably for most people the single greatest, largest investment they'll ever have.
Yep. And when you're outside of that knowledge loop, you really rely on the professionals that you find to help you through that process. Right? You really rely on those people to be honest with you and to guide you because we don't know. Like the public, we just don't know. We ask stupid mortgage questions of people because we don't know, right?
There really is no stupid questions, but education is key. People go online and they shop for a loan service and they may get an out-of-state lender, and that out-of-state lender, while they may be licensed in Florida, there's certain things that occur here in Florida that we don't have in other states, like dock stamps and intangible tax are a closing cost that are real here in Florida, and we may not have that in other states. Insurance costs are different, and they're on an upswing right now. So you want to be partnered with a good insurance professional. And super important to be partnered up with a real estate professional that can guide you through the purchase process if you are buying or looking to sell your home. You cannot, people think, oh, I'll save money, do it on myself. Yet it actually costs you more to not list with a licensed real estate professional. Statistics show that they're going to get you more money. They're going to get you the most. And if you're a buyer looking to purchase, a real estate agent actually costs you nothing because
Right.
the seller of the property pays that real estate commission. So why go online and look at something that you maybe found on Zillow that's expired or doesn't exist, and when you can get real-time listings from a real estate professional? So partnering with a professional definitely plays in.
I totally agree with you. And keeping it local, right? Use local professionals that know, right? When we bought our first home in Florida, gosh, it's been a number of years ago now, but we learned a ton about how Florida is different than other states, right? Lots of things were different here. And so I wish that we'd had the relationships when we bought our home, because we ended up using somebody from out of state, and we had significant issues that came up because we didn't have a local person that we could look in the eyeball. You had a phone number that you could call, and if they called you back, you were lucky. And if they didn't, you know, you waited until they called you back. So I'm a firm believer in the find that local person that you can trust and work with them. So, okay. So if somebody is just curious, they can just give you a call and you guys can run
Absolutely.
some numbers or answer some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
and I know, we can put our numbers out there. The office number 727-934-9348, or my cell, which is posted on the screen now, 727-514-5692. You can go on our website, www.closemyloantrinity. That's www.closemyloantrinity. You'll see all of our team up there, and we're all local professionals. Any one of my team are a great resource that can help you, and I'm right there with them by their side to help guide you through the process from start to finish.
Nice. All right, my friend, thank you for being with us today. You're actually not going to go anywhere. You're going to come back and talk WPBA in a minute, but you, my friends, don't go anywhere either. And we'll see you in just a minute with Barry again. So, welcome back to the Tampa Bay Business Connection Show, where we are bringing awareness to organizations and added value to their members. And as you know, we are talking about the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association today, or WPBA, and we have a special treat for you. So, the big cheese, the grand poobah, the founder, whatever you want to call him, the executive chairman of WPBA, Barry Horvath, is with us. Are you here, Barry? There you are.
I am here, Claire.
Yay.
Thank you for having me.
It is our
Wow,
pleasure.
look at you. Hey, can I get a screenshot of this? I got to show my friends how I was on the show with Clara Rose. Business Connection. Ooh, I had to do that. So
there we go. Yay.
I put that in my portfolio of collections of fun things that I get to look back on.
That's right. Important people you got to hang with.
Yeah.
That's it right there. So Barry, we are both part of WPBA. You actually were one of the people who started this wonderful organization, so you know so much more about it than I do. Share with us what WPBA's mission is. What are we about?
So, WPBA is really about, I'll give you a little history further back, Clara, and I know you've been an intricate member of our group, and you're a board member now, and you really become part of our mission and what we do. But WPBA's mission is really to connect local business people, like-minded people, charitable people, and while giving back to the local community at the same time. We actually started officially somewhere back in 2008 is when we first, I first started meeting people here in my office. It was during a very, very difficult time for many of us where the market collapsed, and I'm in the mortgage business, the title business, and the financial business. So if you could think about a worse time for all of those sectors, that was it. I mean, we had the mortgage crisis and the world was falling apart. And I felt like, you know what, if I could connect with other business owners and share our struggles together and help us grow, we can do that. And then at the same time, when we do raise money, we give it all back locally. That was, and I don't want to knock our big charitable organizations because we have a lot of them. But I wanted to make sure whatever funds were raised were given back here locally.
And we do that so well. That's something I'm very proud to be a part of this organization, because we really do make a difference in the world around us. It's not just about business, right? It's about what the profits and the good things that come from business, what we can do to make a difference in the world around us, and we do that well. I'm super proud to be part of that, for sure.
I am too. I have to tell you, this last year has been a challenge like none other. I mean, in history, if you look back, this pandemic has been, but WPBA has kept going. We normally do 2 large signature events, as many of you know, Bowling for Boobs, which was just a crazy idea of mine that said, let's do a bowling tournament and let's raise money for breast cancer. Who would have thought it would be such a crazy phenomenon today? But look at all of the families we've been able to help with that. And then How the Grinch Saved Christmas started out as a short sale seminar when the market was crashing, and it became, we raised a little money and we were able to help that first family of a mother with a teenage son who was dying of cancer. We were able to provide Christmas for that presents for that family when they were really struggling. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And even this last year with, we were able to partner up and get some CARES money, and we helped over 92 families pay rent, pay their utility bills, or their mortgage payments during a really difficult time. So I'm really proud of that. And we still managed to help 4 families this year with a Grinch event that didn't exist, but people still wanted to jump in and support and fill people's Christmas lists for people who were struggling this year. So I'm really proud of that. And the business aspect, yeah, we do business together, we do network, but wow, we give back locally. Like, nobody's like us in this community, and there's a lot of great organizations. We're just a little different. That's all.
We are different. When we have we have a general membership, of course, but then we have seat-specific groups that meet on a weekly basis. Well, right now we're Zooming still, but whether you want a breakfast or a lunch or an after hours, there's something for everyone. And if you don't want to be a part of the seat specific, we have the general membership, but you can participate if you want to be a part of an organization that is doing business together, but also making a difference in the community around us. So even in this COVID season, this last year when we couldn't have our 2 big live events, people still are so invested in this that they still showed up virtually. Right? So we had a virtual Bowling for Boobs. We had a virtual How the Grinch Saved Christmas, and we still helped families. And then on top of that, we did the CARES program, which helped 92 local families who couldn't pay their rent, mortgage, utilities because of COVID. And what a difference that made in their world, right? What a difference in their lives. And I'm super proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, I know we've changed lives just with little things and like that. Helping people in time of need is what we want to do. And it's funny because some of the families that we have supported, with the Grinch, which is a wonderful event. If you've never been to it, you should. I'm sorry we couldn't have it this year. We'll try to get back on track this year, but it's a party and a celebration. And those families become part of our family because they come back every year because they maybe went through a really dark time in their life and we were there for them. And you know what? It's not about the money so much or the gifts we provide for them, but more that feeling that people get when they walk into a room for this event and they see 450, 500 people gathering on their behalf to support them. To me, that's just, I can't imagine how that feels, but people have shared with me how, we had a little boy with cancer, and his mother, he was not really a recipient, but we started to make him one because we made him a superhero table and we brought superheroes in because that's what he loved. And he passed away, unfortunately, a week after that event, but he was there taking pictures, having a great time. And his mother reached out to me later and said, thank you for making my son's last good day on this earth special. So, when you hear those things, it just kind of, it touches your heart and it realizes, you know what, we're doing the right thing. And we'll continue to do it as long as we can, as long as I'm here anyway.
Yep. Well, and we're set up in that way, right? We're a nonprofit and we're on purpose. We're strategic and intentional about that. doing business, but we're being intentional about making a difference in the community around us, which is why many of us in WPBA, why we're members, right? Because you can network in a lot of places, but not very many places can you network and also be part of such a wonderful group that cares, right? That woman said thank you because you made her and her son we made them feel like we cared, because we do. We care about the people around us, and that's right there what makes WPBA special and why so many of us are lifers in the organization, because we want to be a part of something.
I love when you say that, Claire, that you're a lifer for WPA. That, is touching. And we have a lot of members that have been lifers and will continue. I used to get accused of this being like a cult. It was funny. It was a big joke. People like, yeah, I'm going to go to Barry's church or Barry's cult. They all came up with little fun things, but those people still support our group, and they know we're all about good things. And I have to tell you, I'm proud. I'm proud of the members we have. We have so many great professionals, and I'm proud of the community that steps up when we do our events, that wants to jump in and help because they've seen it firsthand what we do for people. And how do you even put words to it? Like you said, you're a lifer, Claire. I know it just feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It feels good to know that you're making a difference. And I think sometimes when people go through something not so fun, right? You have a difficult time in your life, you can feel isolated and alone and like nobody cares, right? Like you're just on an island and nobody cares, and good luck, right?
I know we're running out of time, but I remember walking in to a place of someone's work who was struggling for Christmas, and I told her who I was. I said, I'm Barry Horvath with the West Pasco Business Association, and we just do this event called The Grinch. And I understand you're having a hard time with things right now, but we want to make your Christmas brighter. And she looked at me like, huh? And she never met me before. And, I don't, that's kind of a hard sell, but it lightened her up, and she started to dance around. And she said, I heard of the Grinch and all this. And, it's great what we can do for people. So I'm excited about our future. I hope more people become involved, especially during this tough time.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so we're totally out of time, but thank you so much for coming and sharing your heart and a little bit about WPBA. And we will be back again next month to talk to you guys again from WPBA. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.